A moment 8 decades in the making. A monument unveiled commemorating over 8,000 Taiwanese teenagers who volunteered to help the Japanese during the Second World War. It's a controversial memorial, though at that time, Taiwan was a colony of Japan. Those being remembered here were not soldiers, and many were no older than 13 at the time, enticed by high salaries and promises of qualifications after the war. They were recruited to help repair aircraft for the Japanese Navy, as part of a group known as the Gong. 93-year-old Dong Junxian is one of the dozen or so surviving members of that group. Some 200,000 Taiwanese served the Japanese military during World War II, mostly in support roles like the Gong, but 80,000 did see active combat.
People in Taiwan who fought in the Second World War are often thought of as being overwhelmingly Chinese. Those who came here after the war received state pensions and national honors. But many Taiwanese actually fought for Japan as citizens of the Japanese Empire. And for decades, they received no recognition at all.
Taiwan became a colony of Japan after China lost the First Sino-Japanese War in 1895. While there was plenty of Taiwanese resistance to the new rulers, by World War II, several generations of Taiwanese had already been educated as Japanese citizens. Many saw themselves as Japanese, but after the war, Taiwan was taken over by Chinese nationalists and the Republic of China, which at that point had been at war with Japan for nearly 10 years. That made it hard for Taiwanese who had served for the Japanese to talk about their experiences.
战争结束以后，政权转换，他们在日本是当少年宫，其实这后来的政权是属于敌对的关系，所以他们回到台湾以后，其实很多人不敢再去提起他们以前在日本的一些经验。
The Japanese military was responsible for numerous atrocities across Asia during the war, and that legacy continues to cloud relations between Tokyo and its neighbors. But unlike in China and Korea, where anti-Japanese sentiment is common, many in Taiwan are much less hostile to the Japanese view of the war.
在1945年之前，台湾也就是日本人。国家有战争、有国难的时候，我们身为国民，是不是应该付出我们的一个力量，去对抗外国？美国、英国也是为了他们国家的这个理念而战争。那我们台湾跟日本也是为了国家的理念而战争。
But far from being a consensus, there's also some resentment among Taiwanese of Japan's colonization and actions during World War II. Many of those in Taiwan's more China-friendly opposition party, the Kuomintang, or KMT, take a less favorable stance towards Japan, even as the father of the KMT's presidential candidate for 2024 was among the young volunteers who had repaired Japan's aircraft during the war. It's a complex and checkered history, with much not set in stone. But for the remaining dozen volunteers, this memorial is long overdue, marking a past of sacrifice and duty. Howard Zhang, Sam Hui, and Ed Moon for Taiwan Plus.